came to buy something and he had his money tied up onto something that he was wearing. So when he came to take his money, he realized it's been stolen. So the people in the marketplace were looking at him. What is he going to do? What is he going to do? He raises his hands and he says, Ya Rab, if he took it because he's in need of it, then bless it. And Ya Rab, if he took it because he had the courage to disobey you, then make it the last sin. Look at the wisdom. He could have made dua on him, but making dua on him will only help the shaitan overcome him and win over him. And the shaitan will win at that moment. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he disallowed the companions from cursing the one who drinks alcohol. Despite the fact there's a hadith that says he's a mal'oon, he's cursed. But he disallowed them when they were cursing an individual. Why? When they were cursing an individual, why? He said, لا تكن للشيطان عونا على أخيك. Do not be a helper to the shaitan over your Muslim brother. Don't be a helper to the shaitan over your Muslim brother. Another example. This is coming from a great alim. He once took off his turban. Turban is the imamah. He took him off when he wanted to make wudu. So he placed it on the side of the river. And while he was doing his wudu, a thief stole his turban, but he was a classic. He was a fair one. You know, he wanted to leave something behind, so he left him a cheap one. He gave him the cheap, took the expensive, and he ran off. He pretended he didn't even see. He went, he put it on his head, and he walked off. He sat in his gathering, and the students are all looking at his cheap turban. And this sheikh had an expensive turban. They said it was worth 20 dinars. He was rich. They tell him, one of them said, Ya Shaykh, O Imam, it seems like your amamah has changed. Did someone steal it? Did someone steal it? He went quiet, and then he said, Afa Allahu anna wa an. May Allah pardon us and pardon. None of us, brothers, none of us is free from the mistake. Wallahi, akhi, we're not free from mistakes. As much as you see the mistakes in each other, you got a bigger mistake. And wallahi, if we were busy looking at ourselves and correcting ourselves, we'll realize how much we're in need to be more merciful towards each other. Because every one of us is filled with so much problems. Every one of us is filled with so many problems. It is reported that Safiya, the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, she had a servant. And this servant of hers spoke about her in a bad way to Umar ibn Khattab. Or she said something that reached Umar when Umar ibn Khattab was Amir al-Mu'mineen, the leader of the believers, the Khalifa. So what was it that she said about her? She said that she loves Saturdays and she loves the Jews. So Umar ibn Khattab, he called Safiya, he asked her. She said, ever since I became a Muslim, I never loved Saturdays again. And Allah replaced it for me with Friday. And I have relatives from the Jews, because she had a Jewish background, that I connect my ties with. But however, I'm not of those who have my allegiance to them or love towards them that is blind. So Umar al-Khattab makes dua for her, he says, and he leaves her. She realizes later on, Safiya, she realizes that her servant is the one who spoke bad about her to Umar al-Khattab. So she asked her, why did you do this? She got all scared and she said, the shaitan did this. The shaitan caused me to do this. She said, go, you are free. She could have whipped her, but the point is, this is where you've got to realize and think, my dear brothers, what's the best of the two? وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. And those who repress their anger, and those who pardon people. Those who repress their anger, and those who pardon people. Be of those who are oppressed, and do not be of those who oppress others. You be the oppressed, yes. Don't allow for you to be the oppressor. You be the one who forgives and pardons, and do not be the one who just wants to claim all his rights. Because wallahi al-azim, if you were to be treated and judged for everything, wallahi, we're all doomed, brothers. We're all doomed, we're all destroyed. Why? Because who of us is free from mistakes and from shortcomings? Ramadan is the month of brotherhood, it is the month of mercy, it is the month of forgiveness. Let's really make it like that. Let us really make it like that. And let us make it not only like that during Ramadan, but let it be throughout our lives. Let it be that place in which you only get better and better and not stay the same throughout and no change happens to you. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us all live to it. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to accept our deeds. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us of those who are sincere in our worship. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive our shortcomings. My dear brothers, if I've said anything that's right, it's from Allah Azza wa Jal's blessings and His aid. And if I've said anything that's wrong, I ask you to excuse that. And remember, I'm only human, and it's from myself, and I do not claim that Allah is the one who did the wrong. Rather, it's myself and the shaitan. And I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive me for that. Meantime, if you've got any humble questions, you can ask. If there are that I can help with, I'm more than happy to answer it if I can, if I know it. Otherwise, I'll just simply leave it and we'll end it there tonight. Are there any questions, brothers? Well, yeah. Like, since there's no hands up, I didn't want to wait for the hands. Are there any questions, brothers? Anything at all? I'd like to ask you, ask me. Yes?
During Ramadan, can you use Colgate?
In other words, can you use toothpaste? Wallah, have you looked, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would use his siwak during Ramadan. You know what's a siwak, right? And the siwak has a flavor. Okay? And since the siwak was allowed, anything that has a similar taste, so long as it's not swallowed, that would be allowed. But it's better to be cautious. What I mean by cautious, brush your teeth before the fajr, okay? And be cautious. Not because it's haram, but because this is to stay out of differences of opinion. Does that make sense? But at the conclusion, my belief, my humble opinion that I've taken from ulama, is that it's allowed, similar to how siwak would be allowed while you're fasting. Wallahu ta'ala. Any other questions from brothers? Okay. If you pray Tarawih with the Imam, okay, you get the reward as if you prayed the whole night. But that doesn't mean that we can't go on to increase and do more and more. Okay? And when it came to acts of goodness and worship, Allah Azza wa Jal, He described a special type of people as as-sabiqun, as-sabiqun. The forerunners, the ones who are ahead and ahead. So definitely you are recommended to do so. It's not haram. Even if you didn't pray the witr. If you prayed the witr with the Imam, for example, okay, and you decide later on to pray, you are allowed to. Okay? But it's preferred that if you do know you're going to pray after the witr with the Imam, it's preferred that you join his witr with another one and delay the witr till the end of the night. Does that make sense? It's preferred. But if you forget or you decide not to, then there's no problems in praying after it, and that's the most correct view. Wallahu ta'ala. Okay? Any other questions from the brothers? Sisters, if you have any question, you can write on a piece of paper and I'm more than happy to assist you. Later. We'll give it a few more from the brothers. Any more questions at all? Later. وأنت هي سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
السلام.
At least you come every 3 months.
Every 3 months? Yes.